So this is my last video until 2022. No, I don't mean my last video on YouTube is because I will be taking a short trip for the holiday. And I believe I will resume making more video after the new year. Here, I hope all the viewers have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And now I think this would be a perfect time to reflect on the whole year in real estate and share my thoughts moving forward. Let's have a relaxing conversation, grab your coffee, and let's dive in right after this. Hey, welcome back to the AV Team Real Estate channel, and I'm Antonio, the local real estate agent in the GTA. In this channel, I talk all related real estate content, and if you enjoy it, don't forget to like and subscribe, and also hit the bell notification so that you can be notified every time I upload a video. But if you like to talk to me for a quick consultation, whether you're looking to buy, sell, or invest, feel free to text or call the number on the screen, or simply schedule a call with me using the first link in the description down below. So at this time of year, everyone is preparing for Christmas and getting together for family gatherings. And most people will probably set everything aside, including thinking of selling or buying real estate, which is very understandable. Especially this is a very special year that has had a lot of ups and downs, from inflation, the war in Ukraine, the rising interest rate, the collapse of the real estate market, etc. A lot has happened, and if you come across any real estate agents, they will most likely have already informed you that the market is brutal. How exactly bad is it? Consider that the number of transactions has dropped by more than half, and no matter how well the real estate agent dominates the market, their business will suffer. There is no denying that the number of transactions has dropped significantly. If you want to learn more about the number of sales that are updated through November for all the major regions such as Peel, York, Hamilton, Durham, and Toronto, make sure you check out my last video. We could perhaps explore which part of Ontario cities currently have the most and least competitive real estate markets. This is an article that was released by CTV, and I thought we could see this report to have a good understanding of the market up until now. In general, one of the metrics that were used often in the market is the sale to new listing ratio for a specific month, SNLR. Essentially, it divides the number of sales by the number of new listings during that month. The result would then be used to determine supply and demand and categorize them as a buyer's market, seller's market, or a balanced market. A buyer's market in which buyers have more listings to choose from has an SNLR of less than 40%, whereas a seller's market in which demand exceeds the supply has an SNLR of more than 60%. Therefore, anything in between 40% and 60% will be considered as a balanced market. Again, this report is from Sukasa, a real estate website, and I thought it would be interesting to analyze the overall market today. Starting with the north of Ontario, you will notice that they are all indicated as red, which basically shows all the sellers markets so far. For example, in Thunder Bay, the average home price is about $309,000 with a 77% sales to new listing ratio. In Sudbury, the average home price is $436,000 with a 73%. In North Bay, the average home price is about $400,000 with a 78% sales to new listing ratio. And in Sault Ste. Marie, the average home price is $296,000 with an 80% SNLR. There is also a non-northern area, Guelph, where the average home price is about $810,000 with a 63% sales to new listing ratio, and is on the border of a balanced and seller's market. The obvious takeaway from here is that this market, the average home prices are much more lower than in the cities within the GTA. Out of all the northern areas, prices start at around $296,000 and do not exceed $436,000, with the exception of Guelph, which is $810,000. The lower home average prices make it more attractive in this area, and added to the fact that it has fewer homes, that is the recipe for a seller's market. So as you can see, the sales to new listing ratio is hovering about 70 to 80%, with the exception of Guelph at around 63%, bordering between balanced and seller's market. Overall, the rest of Ontario is largely completely imbalanced. York region, which includes Newmarket, Aurora, Richmond Hill, and Markham, has one of the most expensive average home prices in Ontario, which is north of 1 million. And surprisingly, the sales to new listing ratio is hovering in the high 50%, nearing the seller's market. And I could reassure you that there are still multiple offers for most homes on the market. Moving on the east in Durham region, such as Ajax, Oshawa, Ottawa, Peterborough, and Kingston, and they are also in the balanced market but slightly lower than the York region. Mostly was in the low 50%, with the exception of Ottawa and Kingston, which was in the 40%. I'm sure there's a mistake in this report for Niagara Falls, where home prices are in the 640,000 range, but I think they meant buyer's market at 29%. Remember that a lower number means approaching the buyer's market with more choices for buyers, and therefore the new listings are not selling. Take note that this is the only area that is on the buyer's market in Ontario. If you are an investor, you should probably pay attention to this area. This interest rate increase also had the greatest impact on Peel, Halton, and Hamilton. Most of the area was in the low 50%, and the most noticeable area that were hit the most were Hamilton at 40%, Burlington at 44%, and Caledon at 43%, followed by very low 50th percentage in Brampton, Milton, Oakville, etc. What this article was indicating is that most areas are in the balanced market in Ontario. If you are looking for opportunities, you might want to look at the areas that are lower in sales to new listing ratio. There is a lot of negativity today, and many analysts or people in general will constantly remind us that we are in a recession. But that even worse problem awaits us in the coming years. If you look at your stock portfolio, most people are just turning away and don't want to be reminded how much the portfolio shrinks and such. In reality, these are the facts. And the more I think about it, the more I realize that most people weren't even aware of how crazy it was the past few years. In good times, people tend to take them for granted. For example, where do you see this kind of incredible appreciation for homes happening in a year? In Toronto, we were setting record after record in sales and appreciation. Homes were basically doubling in some extreme cases in between 2 to 4 years time. And nobody even thought that it would be slowing down anytime soon. Stocks during the pandemic, yes, they had a short deep dip, but everyone almost forgot about it because anyone without basically any knowledge who entered the market enjoyed record-setting profit from it. Everyone appears to be the next investor after Warren Buffett. So much has happened in the world in the past 12 months. Inflation is one of the consequences that was a product of quantitative easing, and in return, that is what we are suffering today from the interest rate hike. Politically also contributed to the supply chain issue that I have been speaking so much in my previous video, where shipping costs could easily be much more than it should be. You could possibly blame the war, which is causing this year record high in fuel costs, wheat prices, and much more. It is total disaster, but at the same time, if you think about it thoroughly, it is necessary. No matter the situation, there will always be people suffering, and one can argue that the rich are having a better time than the middle class or those that are struggling. This alone deserves another video to talk about it, but I won't be talking about it in this video. Overall, there are only 3 places in Toronto where you could invest your money, and I don't think there is any secret to that. Most people understand that cash depreciates over time, especially with today's inflation. The number 1 place is a piece of real estate that we can call home. This is simply looking at the history of real estate, where real estate assets usually go up over time. If you don't believe me, you can witness it yourself with this graph here. However, one could argue that the primary residence is not a good investment because you will simply not sell it, but it is something you can leave it to your child or family as an inheritance. There are plenty of real estate investors who made a bunch of money in Canada. The second place you will put your money is in stocks. They are similar to investing in a company you believe in, and history shows that you will make good money if you invest in a company that is doing well. Similar to real estate, stocks also have ups and downs, but unless you invest long term, usually they pay out pretty well. However, when interest rates go up, and especially with the speed that we experience today, the stock market usually tanks. For the time being, the stock market will be extremely volatile until the Fed decides to pause the rate increase. The third place you will put your money is in business, whether it's a brick and mortar business, an online business, or even being an entrepreneur in the hope of producing more income. Although the reward could be basically limitless, the success rate is also the lowest. In the end, most people would invest in real estate not only for the necessity of a shelter, but also because it is a physical asset that they can touch and feel as opposed to stocks. If you ask me, I don't see why I shouldn't be optimistic about the Ontario real estate market in the long run. There is far too much at stake in Toronto real estate, especially given the influx of newcomers. However, it is going to be a very bumpy ride throughout the 2023. Since it is approaching Christmas and the new year, I encourage you to stay on team positive and let's get through the year on a positive note. Comment below with what's on your mind for your prediction for 2023. Anyways, I'm wrapping up this video right here and I wish you a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Bye.